VoteVets.org. Jon, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you.
So at the end of this month, the American force in Iraq will be just around 50,000 troops. At the highest, it was 144,000. It's interesting, the applause level to the president's remarks. Not a lot of cheers, and maybe not to be expected. But what's your reaction now that we're at this point?
Well, I've always been happy about getting out of Iraq. I mean, VoteVets is obviously never an organization that supported the Iraq war and obviously the way we prosecuted it. But I think anytime you talk to a veterans audience, you're not going to get a lot of cheers. You're not going to get a lot of boos. You know, veterans, for the most part, try to stay apolitical, so that part doesn't really surprise me. Now, what kind of surprises me is the president went over to the disabled American veterans and talked about the war. And I'm not quite sure why he did that. I mean, maybe he's taken a lot of heat on Afghanistan, but really he didn't announce anything new today. The August 31st deadline still a month away, and I still think there's a chance our troops are going to be in combat in Iraq after that deadline, because we got to move everything around. So when you don't have people out there providing security in the towns, when we're retrograding or moving our equipment from Iraq down to Kuwait or up to Turkey, our troops are still at risk.
And Jon, it's interesting, of course, you bring up Afghanistan. So many others are saying this announcement may or may not give the president some cover, as we see members of his administration and top leadership within that party obviously very much differing on opinions on what should happen in Afghanistan. I want to play what Defense Secretary Robert Gates had to say and what Nancy Pelosi, Speaker Pelosi, said in response to comments made by Joe Biden. Let's play both of those.
I think we need to reemphasize the message that we are not leaving Afghanistan in July of 2011. Drawdowns early on will be of fairly limited numbers.
More than that, I know it's not going to be turn out the lights and let's all go home on one day. But I do think the American people expect it to be somewhere between that and a few thousand troops.
And obviously, again, that was Speaker Pelosi responding to Vice President Biden, saying we may see a couple of thousand leave. So, Jon, what's your assessment of what we're hearing?
What we're hearing is the White House made it. This is the White House's mess. They're going to have to clean this up. They allowed themselves to be bullied into this troop increase in a lot of places. There's a lot of people inside the White House, the National Security Advisor, the Vice President, that wanted a counterterrorism mission, a mission that just focused on al-Qaeda, that didn't require a lot of troops. They sort of got bullied into this troop increase, this coin strategy. They tacked a timeline on the back of it to get the left on board. So you could basically drive a truck through the strategy. There's no way to do the counterinsurgency strategy in the timeline the White House wants. Why? You know, certainly we didn't support it. We supported a much more limited focus. So it's not about troops in, troops out timeline. It's about, are you going to deal with the 150 al-Qaeda the CIA says are there, or are you going to become a pro-Karzai operation? And the president has chosen a pro-Karzai operation. And now we're going to have a showdown in July of 2011 between the warring parties all over again about how many troops stay and how many troops go.
Yeah. All right, Jon Soltz, chairman of VoteVets.org. Jon, it is always a pleasure to have you on with me. Thank you. Well,